Hi everyone, Jan here. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for joining me. Today I wanted to do some paintings with Cell Activator, and I wanted to try out the European, the US and the Australian Floetrol. First I wanted to show you the difference in consistency between the three. The first one that I'm showing you here is the European Floetrol. It has been surprising to me to see just how much of a difference there actually is. The European Floetrol is extremely thick. The second one here is the US Floetrol. It is still thick, but not like the European. And here is the Australian Floetrol, which is basically like milk. It's very, very thin, as you will see now when I show you the consistency in this drip test. You're in for a treat. There you go. Off goes the Australian Floetrol. So what I did now is I mixed the two other Floetrols with water to get the same consistency. And then I made Cell Activators with 1 part Floetrol, 3 parts, the other way around, 1 part paint, 3 parts Floetrol, and in the European and the US mix I added 10 drops of Minwax pre-stain in order to get the same effect as the Australian Floetrol comes with automatically. And I just wanted to show you that I more or less managed to get the same consistency in all three. And of course I'll be showing you this drip test as well, and you should see that the Australian is still a little bit thinner, but very, very close. That's not making a difference. And here you go. So, moving on to the paintings, I am today gonna make 3 little paintings, 18 by 24 centimeters, or 7 inches by 9.5 inches. My base coat is Goya White, mixed with a local pouring medium brand here called Malverk Basics. I'm mixing it 1 part paint, 3 parts Floetrol, and a half part water. For an 18 by 24 centimeter canvas, you need 90 milliliters of paint. I have calculated this using Olga Söby's acrylic pouring paint calculator, which you'll find on the address that you see on the screen now. So, in order to make enough paint for all 3, of course, I timed it by 3, so that's 270 milliliters. So I made 300 milliliters of white base coat. And right here I am popping the bubbles with the torch, important step, so that you don't have these little irritating white spots in your paintings, because they will pop eventually, so it's important that you do it. And I'm stretching the paint out. I am not covering the edges yet. I'll do that after I put the paint on. So yeah, spreading out the paint on all 3 canvases. I will be attempting to make 3 identical, which of course, as you all know, that is not possible in this acrylic pouring, but I will attempt to at least put the paints on in the same order and the same way, and do the swipes the same way. While we're waiting, I would like to thank you again for joining my channel. I would like it very much if you would subscribe to my channel. That would really mean a lot to me. Also, please do leave a thumbs up. And last but not least, any comments are welcome, negative or positive. So here we move on to the colors. The first color that I'm putting on is Rotbart, which is a German brand, ultramarine. I had decided that I was going to do two swipe next to each other. As you will see, the further I get along, unfortunately I put them on too close together, so it will be like one um, puddle, but I will still be doing two swipes on each painting. The next color that I'm putting on is Goya Orange. These are all paints that I've had sitting for a while. I just wanted to try to use them up, and as you will see, I run into a little issue here with the orange not really wanting to come out here on the next painting. Um, so pardon me for that, but yeah, it will be solved momentarily. Um, that's what happens when you have paints sitting for a little too long. You can still use it, but there could be clumps in it. That was the only issue that I ran into though. And they're all just the same age. I've been having them for probably a year, I think, sitting in these bottles. The next color that I'm putting on is Amsterdam Yellowish Green. I love this color as a pop color in practically, yeah, all the paintings that I've used it. It has really popped in a very interesting way. It seems to be a very strange color, I guess, depending on what you mix it with, but it always turns out to really pop in an excellent way. So I am very happy with this color. The next color that I'm putting on is Goya Vermillion Red. And moving on to Rotbart, again, lemon yellow it's called. I will have to say that it has been an eye-opener to first of all find out what how big the difference is in consistency between these three Floetrols, and also I had up till now actually thought that the Australian Floetrol, the effect that you get with that is so much different than to the effect that you get with the Minwax pre-stain. But as you will see in the final results, it's more or less the same. There are some differences, but the effects can be achieved by using the Minwax pre-stain. The last color that I put on was Goya Light Blue, and I will now move on to the swiping with the Cell Activator. The first one that I'm using is the Australian Floetrol, as you can see here. Aussitrol. It's a German company that actually imports the big um, containers of Australian Floetrol, and then they sell them in half-liter bottles. So it gets a little more, not as pricey for each customer. Of course, you could also buy the 4-liter one, but yeah, it's very expensive to import it from Australia, so I'm doing it this way. Here comes the swipe with the Australian Floetrol. As you see, it reacts immediately, generates cells, lacing. I will be swiping once more in the other direction. And as I said, I was happy to see that the Minwax pre-stain actually does give me more or less the same effect. Uh, I have previously thought that it didn't, but I have seen that some people said that when you use the Minwax pre-stain, you should actually use the Cell Activator pretty quickly after you've mixed it. And I think that's one thing that I've done wrong when I've tried it out. I used it days after. That seems to make a big difference. Next one is the US Floetrol, with Minwax pre-stain. Now, one thing that I need to find out once these paintings are dry is I have not yet tried to put resin directly on paintings that have where I've used the Minwax pre-stain. I have heard both that you must clean it like with silicone, but I've also heard that you can put resin directly on top of it. So I am gonna try that. Here is the swipe with the US Floetrol and Minwax pre-stain. As you see, it reacts immediately, more or less the same way that the Australian Floetrol does. But yes, I do think that I'll probably make a video where I try out the resin on these paintings, if that's gonna be interesting. You could leave a comment if you will, if you would like to see this. But I'm definitely gonna try it. Whether I make a video about it, of it or not, I'm not sure. We'll see. I don't necessarily think that watching someone putting resin on paintings is that interesting. This last one is the European Floetrol with Minwax pre-stain, and as you will see, the reaction is the same. So I think it's two things. Use it shortly after you mixed it, but also make sure that the consistency of the Floetrol is as thin as the Australian Floetrol, because that is another thing that I didn't do when I tested it out previously. I did not thin it out as much. And the last swipe. Now moving on to the stretching. I will be speeding this up a little bit because watching me stretch 3 canvases is probably not going to be that interesting. So the first one I'll do in normal speed, and the last 2 will be sped up to 8 times the normal speed. I will say that I was surprised, but actually pleasantly surprised um, to see that you do get the same lacing, you do get the same cells more or less with all 3 Floetrols, and my favorite is probably actually the last one that you see here that I'll be tilting in just a little bit. I do see a difference that the lacing on the US and the European seems to be black. The edges on the lacing is the black color, whereas on the one on the left, it seems that the lacing will also somehow use some of the colors that you've used in the painting. So this one is the Australian, this one is the US one, and this one is the European. I really like the lacing on this one. And there you have all 3. I want to again thank you for joining me here on my channel, and I hope that you will be returning soon. Have a good day. Bye.